Question, the member from Nepean Carleton.
Is also to the Premier. Yesterday, we learned from the that the most senior officials in the Premier's office copied government emails and documents related to the gas plant scandal onto personal drives, and then ordered that information and those documents and that evidence be destroyed. I'm going to read Section 122 of the Criminal Code of Canada, the breach of trust. Every official who, in connection with the duties of his office, commits fraud or breach of trust is guilty of an indictable offence and liable to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years, whether or not the fraud or breach of trust would be an offence if it were committed in relation to a private person. Premier, you have no choice other than to call in the OPP to investigate Dalton McGuinty's former office and your office for this crime. Will you do it?
Be seated. I'd like to ask the member of Oxford, how's your hand? Is it okay? Take it. Premier.
Very much, Mr. Speaker. As I've said, the OPP is an independent body, and they will do what they deem in the best interests of the people of Ontario to do. I'm very pleased that Dr. Kavoukian has issued this report, Mr. Speaker. I agree with her conclusions. I agree, Mr. Speaker, that there need to be changes made, and I agree, Mr. Speaker, that there needs to be action taken, some of which we have already begun, Mr. Speaker, but we will continue to work with the Privacy Commissioner to make sure that the changes that are necessary are made so that this won't happen again. I agree it shouldn't have happened, which is why, Mr. Speaker, from the day that I've been in this office, I have worked to open up this process to make sure that all of the information that was asked for would be available. The reason that the members opposite are asking these questions, Mr. Speaker, one of the reasons is that they have the information that we have provided, because that is the right thing to do, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary.
I find this troubling. The Premier says we are going to do better, we need to do better in the future, and they keep saying that. They said that about e-health. They said that about Orange. And let's talk about Orange for a moment. You say that the OPP should do what's in the best interest of the province.
Minister of the Environment.
Minister of Health, who actually called the OPP in to investigate Orange. Why don't you speak to your Deputy Premier, Minister? Why don't you talk about the officials in your government who copied data onto personal drives and then destroyed the evidence? That's why the OPP needs to be called in right now. That is why Section 341 of the Criminal Code applies here. Fraudulent concealment. Everyone who, for a fraudulent purpose, takes, obtains, removes, or conceals anything is guilty of an indictable offence and liable for imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years. Speaker, would they do it in Orange because it didn't affect them directly? Why don't they do it here? This minister, this Premier, and the former Premier are guilty of a crime.
Stop the clock, please. I am going to make a comment about that last statement. That I believe that those kinds of that kind of language is I'm bothered by it, and I would ask the member to guard her questions very carefully, and I will be listening carefully to see that it's not done again. Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I will just say again that we have done absolutely everything possible to make sure that every piece of information, every question that has been asked, every person who has been asked to come, that all of that has been made available to the members opposite, Mr. Speaker, and to the public, because I have said repeatedly that what happened in terms of the relocation of the gas plants should not have happened. There should have been a better process up front. And to the issue of making changes so that none of this would happen again, we have already begun that process. So the Privacy Commissioner acknowledges that we have done training, Mr. Speaker. We have made it clear to staff what the rules are. We will continue to do that, and as more questions are asked, Mr. Speaker, we will continue as we began, and that is to provide the information that is asked for by the committee and by the members opposite.
Final supplementary.
Speaker, they have breached the public archives law that they put in place. They have breached Section 122 of the Criminal Code. They have breached Section 341 of the Criminal Code. They called in the OPP when it was convenient on Orange. Why won't they call in the white-collar crime unit of the OPP here today? Is it because the Kathleen @gmail account is suspect? Is it because they've been trading information that they don't want the public to see so they can continue to skirt FOI requests? Mr. Speaker, this is very serious. If the Premier cannot stand in her place today and look at the public in Ontario and tell them that she will do what's right for them, then we are in trouble as a democracy in this province. They have probably broken the law more than once. The Information Privacy Commissioner said as much yesterday. I ask her once again, on behalf of the residents of this province and the people of this province, will she stand in her place, call in the white-collar crime unit of the OPP?
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It is a first principle of mine that I will follow the law, I will follow the rules, and I will make sure that everyone who works for me, Mr. Speaker, works with me, follows the law, follows the rules. And I take objection to anything that proves otherwise.
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Be seated. Cease, please. Cease, please. Thank you. Thank you. Complete, please.
And, Mr. Speaker, since I have been in elected office, before I was in this House, when I was a school trustee, I have followed the rules, Mr.
Order,
Speaker.
please.
I have taken advice at every turn.
Order,
when I
please.
came into this office, I opened up this
Member from
process
Durham,
on the
come to
discussion
order.
of the relocation of the gas plants so that all of the questions could be answered.
Member from Durham,
we have
come to
rules
order.
in place in our office, Mr. Speaker.
Answer.
We have turned over documents. We will continue to answer the questions that are asked of us, Mr.
Thank
Speaker.
you.